The scent of grilled steak drifts through the kitchen as I slide plates onto the counter. It's a routine Friday night, dinner with my wife, Emily, but something about her silence tonight feels off. She's not her usual, bubbly self. Her green eyes dart nervously, avoiding mine, and she picks at her food like a child forced to eat broccoli. "Everything okay?" I ask, leaning against the counter. My voice is casual, but my instincts are on edge. She looks up, and for a split second, I see something I've never seen before: guilt. "I need to talk to you about something," she says, her voice barely audible. My stomach churns. Those words never lead to anything good. "All right," I reply, forcing a calm I don't feel. "What's on your mind?" Emily hesitates, her fingers tracing the rim of her wine glass. "You know how we've been married for 8 years now, and we've always been honest with each other?" "Of course," I say, crossing my arms. "What's this about?" She takes a deep breath. "I've been thinking. I want to explore something. Just once. I want your permission to sleep with someone else." My world stops. The air grows thick, heavy, like I've been sucker punched in the chest. My mind races, trying to process the absurdity of her words. "You're joking," I say, my voice tight. "No," she says quickly, leaning forward. "It's not what you think. It's not about love or replacing you. It's just something I need to do for myself. I feel like I missed out on experiences before we got married, and I just need this one time to get it out of my system." I stare at her, my pulse pounding in my ears. "And you think that's okay? To ask your husband for permission to cheat? It's not cheating if you approve," she argues, her tone almost pleading. "Jack, I love you. This won't change that. It's just one night. One man." The mention of one man stirs a fury inside me. I take a step back, my chair screeching against the floor. "Who is it?" I demand. "You already have someone in mind, don't you?" She winces but nods. "It's Eric, my coworker. I don't know, different. It's just physical, Jack. That's all." The rage bubbling inside me threatens to spill over, but I clamp down on it, clenching my fists at my sides. "So, you've already planned this," I say, my voice icy. "You're not asking me, you're telling me." Emily stands, her hands outstretched in desperation. "Please, Jack. This doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could even bring us closer." "Closer?" I laugh bitterly. "You think sleeping with someone else will make us closer?" Her face crumples, and for a moment, I see regret. But it's not enough. I turn on my heel and head for the door, grabbing my keys. "Where are you going?" she asks, panic creeping into her voice. To clear my head, I snap. "Don't wait up." As I slam the door behind me, my mind races with fury and disbelief. I can't let her walk all over me like this. She thinks she can have her cake and eat it too? Fine. But this isn't over, not by a long shot. I drive aimlessly through the city, the hum of the engine barely audible over the storm raging in my mind. My knuckles whiten around the steering wheel as her words echo endlessly. It's just one night. One man. How could she think that I'd ever be okay with this? A red light forces me to a stop. I slam my hands on the steering wheel, the horn blaring into the empty street. The frustration bubbling inside me is overwhelming, but letting it control me isn't an option. If Emily thinks she's in control of this situation, she's about to learn differently. I pull into the lot of a dingy diner, the kind of place where no one asks questions, and slide into a corner booth. The coffee they bring me is sludge, but I don't care. My phone buzzes incessantly on the table. Emily. I flip it over without looking at the screen. Leaning back, I think about what to do. I've been blindsided, sure, but I'm no fool. If Emily is serious about this, there's no way our marriage survives it. But there's more at stake here than just my pride. I need a plan, one that protects me from the fallout and gives her no room to manipulate the narrative. I grab a napkin and start writing things down. First step, figure out how far she's gone with this guy. Is this really just a fantasy, or have they already crossed the line? Second step, prepare for the worst. If she's already set her mind on doing this, I need to make sure I'm not left scrambling. I make a list. Separate our finances immediately. I document everything. Find out more about this guy, Eric. The waitress refills my coffee, glancing at the napkin with a raised eyebrow. Big plans, she asks. I shake my head. Not the good kind. She shrugs and walks away. For a moment, I envy her nonchalance. She doesn't know what it's like to have your world flipped upside down by someone you trusted. After paying the bill, I head back to the car. The thought of going home to Emily feels suffocating, but I need to face this head-on. I drive slowly, mentally bracing myself for whatever conversation awaits. This isn't the time for rage or hasty decisions. If I want to come out of this intact, I need to stay calm, calculated. When I pull into the driveway, the house is dark except for the faint glow of the living room lamp. Inside, I find Emily curled up on the couch, her eyes red from crying. The sight twists something in my chest, but I shove it aside. "You're back," she whispers, sitting up. "I was worried." "Don't be," I say flatly, hanging my keys on the hook. I needed to think. "About what?" she asks cautiously. I walk to the fridge, grabbing a beer before turning to face her. "About us. About what you just asked me." Emily opens her mouth to speak, but I hold up a hand to stop her. "Not now. I'm too tired to fight. We'll talk tomorrow." She nods hesitantly, her eyes scanning my face as though searching for a sign of hope. I offer none. Instead, I head upstairs, leaving her alone with her thoughts. In the bedroom, I lock the door behind me and sit on the edge of the bed. My phone buzzes again, this time with a text from an old friend of mine, Jake, who works in private security. An idea sparks. I text back, "Need a favor. Can we meet tomorrow?" His response is instant, "Sure. Everything okay?" "Not even close," I reply, tossing the phone onto the nightstand. "Tomorrow, I'll take the first step in turning this disaster into something I can control. For now, I need to rest and prepare for the battle ahead." The morning sunlight pours through the blinds, but I've barely slept. My mind spins with possibilities, none of them good. I throw on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, grab my phone, and slip out of the house before Emily wakes up. The meeting with Jake can't wait. The cafe I chose is small and unassuming, perfect for a private conversation. Jake is already there, nursing a coffee. His sharp eyes lock onto mine as I approach. "Jack," he says, standing to shake my hand. "You look like hell." "Thanks," I mutter, sliding into the chair opposite him. "I need your help." Jake leans back, crossing his arms. "What's going on?" I hesitate for a moment, but there's no point sugarcoating it. Emily wants a hall pass. To sleep with some guy from work. Jake's jaw tightens, his expression hardening. "Damn. I'm sorry, man. That's rough." "It's more than rough," I say, running a hand through my hair. "I need to know if this guy is who she says he is. If they've already, you know." Jake nods slowly. "You want me to look into him?" "I need everything," I reply. "Who he is, what his deal is, whether he's been with my wife already. If she's lying, I need to know." Jake pulls out a small notepad, jotting something down. "What's his name?" "Eric. Works with her at Market Corp." "That's all I've got." "That's enough to start," Jake says, closing the notepad and sliding it into his jacket pocket. "Give me a day or two. I'll get you the details." "Thanks, Jake," I say, my voice sincere. "I don't know what I'd do without you." Jake pats my shoulder. "You'll get through this, Jack. One way or another." I leave the cafe feeling slightly lighter, but the weight of uncertainty still looms. I can't let Emily know I'm digging into this. If she thinks I'm just sulking, she won't see what's coming. When I get home, Emily is in the kitchen, sipping coffee. She looks up as I enter, her expression a mix of relief and apprehension. "Where were you?" she asks. "Out," I say curtly, heading to the coffee maker. "Jack, can we please talk?" Her voice is soft, almost pleading. I sigh and turn to face her. "All right, talk." She sets her mug down and takes a deep breath. "I know this is hard for you to understand, but I'm not trying to hurt you. I need this. For me." "For you," I echo, my tone cold. "And what about me, Emily? What about our marriage?" Her eyes fill with tears. "This doesn't change how I feel about you. You're my husband. I love you." Funny way of showing it. I snap, unable to hold back the bitterness. You want me to sit here and wait while you're off with another man, and then what? Pretend everything's fine when you come back? It's not like that, she cries, stepping closer. I'm not leaving you, Jack. I just need to do this once. Once, I repeat, shaking my head. You're delusional if you think this won't destroy us. She reaches for my hand, but I pull away. I don't want to fight anymore, she says quietly. I just want you to trust me. The absurdity of her words nearly makes me laugh. Trust her? After this? I lean against the counter, my voice low and firm. Emily, if you go through with this, you're throwing away everything we've built. Don't expect me to be here when you get back. Her face crumples, but I don't stick around to comfort her. Instead, I head to the garage, needing space. I lose myself in the familiar rhythm of working on the old truck I've been restoring. The sound of tools and the smell of grease drown out the chaos in my mind. Later that evening, my phone buzzes. It's Jake. Got some info. Meet me tomorrow? Yeah, thanks. I set the phone down and wipe my hands on a rack. Tomorrow, I'll know the truth. And once I do, I'll decide my next move. The morning air is crisp as I pull up to Jake's place. His truck is parked out front, and he's waiting on the porch, a folder in hand. My stomach knots as I step out of the car. Whatever he's found, I'm not sure I'm ready to hear it. Jack, he says, standing as I approach. You better sit down for this. I nod and drop into the worn patio chair beside him. He hands me the folder, and I open it slowly, my heart pounding. Eric Daniels. Jake begins, his voice steady. 33, single, lives in a downtown apartment. Works with Emily in the same department. I scan the photos inside. Eric is tall, muscular, and annoyingly good-looking. The kind of guy who probably turns heads everywhere he goes. There's a picture of him leaving the office with Emily, another of them sitting close at a cafe. They've been out together, I say through gritted teeth. How many times? Too many to call it coincidence, Jake replies. Mostly lunch breaks, but there's more. Last Friday, they went to a hotel. The words hit me like a freight train. I stare at the photo of the hotel entrance, Emily and Eric walking inside together. My hands tremble as I grip the folder tighter. Do you think, my voice falters, do you think it's already happened? Jake hesitates, then nods grimly. I'd bet on it. Sorry, man. I close the folder and lean back, staring up at the sky. The betrayal is no longer a possibility, it's reality. Emily's request wasn't about the future. It was about justifying what she's already done. Thanks, Jake, I say, my voice hollow. I needed to know. Jack, he says, leaning forward, what are you going to do? I'm not sure yet, I admit, but I'm not going to sit back and let her walk all over me. Jake places a hand on my shoulder. If you need anything, anything at all, you call me. I nod, shaking his hand before heading back to my car. The drive home is a blur, my thoughts spinning with rage and heartbreak. By the time I pull into the driveway, I've made a decision. When I enter the house, Emily is in the living room, scrolling on her phone. She looks up, startled. Hey, you were out early. I needed some air, I reply, keeping my voice calm. We need to talk. Her expression shifts, a mix of guilt and apprehension. She sets her phone down and sits up straight. Okay. I sit across from her, my hands clasped tightly to keep from shaking. I know about the hotel, Emily. Her eyes widen, panic flashing across her face. What are you talking about? Don't lie to me, I say sharply. I know you were there with Eric. She freezes, her lips parting as if to speak, but no words come out. Finally, she lowers her gaze. It wasn't what it looked like, she whispers. Then tell me what it was, I demand. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've already crossed the line. Tears well in her eyes, and she shakes her head. I didn't mean for it to go this far. We just had lunch, and then, don't insult me with excuses, I snap, cutting her off. You think I don't see the truth? You've been lying to me for weeks. She breaks down, sobbing into her hands. Jack, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I didn't want to hurt you. I stand, pacing the room to keep from exploding. You didn't want to hurt me? You planned this. You made me feel like a fool in my own marriage. Emily looks up at me, desperation in her eyes. Please, Jack. I love you. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. I stop and stare at her, my jaw tightening. You want to fix this? Then cancel whatever plans you've made with him, now and forever. She nods frantically. I will. I promise. But promises mean nothing to me anymore. I need more than words. I need action. And I need to ensure she understands the gravity of what she's done. I watch Emily closely, her face pale and streaked with tears. Her sudden remorse feels hollow after what she's done. But I know her too well. This isn't a simple apology. It's desperation. She's scrambling to save face, to preserve what she's already fractured. Jack, she pleads, her voice cracking. I'll cancel everything. I'll block his number. I'll quit my job if I have to. Just please, don't give up on us. You've already given up on us, I say, my voice cold. You threw everything away when you decided it was okay to step outside our marriage. She stands, reaching for me, but I take a step back. You don't understand, she cries. I wasn't thinking straight. It was just curiosity. It meant nothing. Nothing? I snap, my voice rising. You went to a hotel with another man. You lied to my face. How the hell does that mean nothing? Emily collapses onto the couch, her sobs filling the room. But I've heard enough. This isn't a time for pity or sympathy. I need to set boundaries, to take control of what's left of my dignity. You're going to end things with him, I say firmly. Today. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. She nods frantically. I will. I swear. And you're going to hand me your phone, I continue, holding out my hand. I want to see the text, and I want proof that it's over. Her eyes widen, and for a moment, she hesitates. You don't trust me? She whispers. I laugh bitterly. You've given me every reason not to. Emily retrieves her phone with trembling hands and types out a message. I watch her closely, reading every word as she composes it. Eric, this has to stop. I can't see you again. Please don't contact me. I nod toward the send button. Go ahead. She presses it, and I take the phone from her, scrolling to the call log and recent texts. Everything matches Jake's findings. Every secret lunch, every happy hour, every hotel visit. My grip tightens on the phone, but I resist the urge to smash it against the wall. This doesn't fix anything, I say, tossing the phone onto the coffee table. It's a start, but it doesn't erase what you've done. Emily stands, her eyes brimming with fresh tears. I'll do whatever it takes to prove myself to you, Jack. Please, just tell me how to fix this. I shake my head. You can't fix this, Emily. Trust doesn't come back overnight. If you're serious about making amends, you're going to have to earn it. And even then, I don't know if it'll be enough. She stares at me, her lip trembling. What do you mean? I mean, I'm not going to make any promises, I reply, my voice steady. You're the one who broke us. Now, you're the one who has to figure out how to piece this mess back together. Emily nods slowly, her shoulders sagging under the weight of my words. I'll do it, Jack. Whatever it takes. I'll go to counseling. I'll quit my job. Stop, I interrupt. Actions speak louder than words. Let's see if you actually follow through. She nods again, her tears falling silently. I turn and head for the stairs, leaving her alone in the living room. My heart feels like it's been torn in two, but I can't let her see that. I can't let her think I'm weak. As I close the bedroom door behind me, my phone buzzes in my pocket. It's Jake. Let me know if you need me to handle anything else. I sit on the edge of the bed, staring at the message. Emily's betrayal has shaken me to my core, but this fight isn't over. Not yet. If she thinks she can manipulate her way out of this, she's in for a rude awakening. The next morning, I wake to the sound of Emily shuffling around downstairs. She's trying to be quiet, but every movement grates on my nerves like sandpaper. I lie there, staring at the ceiling, torn between anger and exhaustion. Last night's confrontation was just the beginning. Now comes the hard part. When I finally get up and head downstairs, she's sitting at the dining table, her laptop open, her hair is disheveled, and there's a cup of coffee in her hand. but she looks like she hasn't slept a wink. Morning, I say, my tone neutral. She looks up, her face lighting up with a fragile smile. Good morning. I made coffee. I nod and pour myself a cup, sitting across from her. What's this? I ask, gesturing to the laptop. I'm drafting my resignation letter, she says quickly. You were right. I can't keep working with Eric. It's not fair to you or to us. Her words are a step in the right direction, but I'm not ready to trust her motives. Good, I reply. And counseling? I've already started looking into options, she says, pointing to a list of therapists on the screen. I'll call to schedule something today. I take a sip of coffee, studying her closely. She looks genuine, but then again, she looked genuine when she lied to my face about Eric. I can't afford to let my guard down. Listen, Emily, I say, setting my mug down. I need you to understand something. This isn't going to be fixed with a resignation letter and a few therapy sessions. What you did cut deep. It's going to take a hell of a lot more than words to rebuild what you've destroyed. She nods quickly, her hands clasped in front of her. I know, Jack. I'll do whatever it takes. Just tell me how. I lean forward, my voice firm. You're going to be transparent. No more secrets, no more lies. I want access to your phone, your emails, everything. If you're serious about earning back my trust, you have to prove it. Her face pales, but she nods. Okay, whatever you need. And you're going to cut off all contact with Eric, I continue. No lunches, no texts, no accidental meetings. If I even suspect you're still talking to him, this is over. I already blocked his number, she says quickly, and I'll tell HR that I can't work on any projects with him. Good, I say, leaning back. But let me be clear, this isn't just about Eric. This is about us. You broke something, Emily, and I don't know if it can be fixed. Her lip trembles, but she doesn't argue. Instead, she nods and wipes at her eyes. I know, Jack. I'll do everything I can to make this right. I stand, grabbing my mug. We'll see. As I walk away, I hear her stifle a sob, but I don't stop. My emotions are too raw, too tangled. If she's serious about making amends, she'll have to do it without me holding her hand. The rest of the day passes in a blur. I spend most of it in the garage, tinkering with my truck and trying to clear my head. Emily stays inside, alternating between phone calls and pacing the living room. By evening, she's managed to schedule our first counseling session and submit her resignation. It's a start, but it's not enough. After dinner, I sit her down one last time. This is the deal, I say, my voice firm. You're on probation, Emily. You have one chance to prove that you're willing to fight for this marriage. But if you slip up, if you lie to me again, I'm gone. No second chances. She nods solemnly. I understand. Good, I say, standing. Because I mean it. Her eyes glisten with unshed tears, but I don't waver. This is her mess, and she's going to have to clean it up. As I head upstairs, my phone buzzes. It's Jake again. Need me to keep tabs on her or the other guy? I stare at the message for a long moment, my finger hovering over the screen. Finally, I reply, not yet. Let's see if she's serious. The following week passes in strained silence. Emily walks on eggshells around me, clearly terrified of making the wrong move. Her resignation is finalized, and she spends hours on the phone scheduling counseling sessions and updating her resume. It's a flurry of activity, but none of it erases the weight of her betrayal. Every time I look at her, I see the hotel picture in Jake's folder. It's a constant reminder of what she did, or what she allowed herself to consider doing. Her promises of change feel hollow, but I decide to watch and wait, letting her actions speak louder than her words. One evening, I return from work earlier than usual and notice her sitting in the dining room, her laptop open. She looks up when I walk in, her face lighting up with a nervous smile. Hey, she says, closing the screen. You're home early. I toss my keys onto the counter, eyeing her carefully. What are you working on? Just updating my LinkedIn profile, she says quickly, gesturing to the laptop. I figured it's time to start looking for a new job. I nod, but something about her tone feels off. Mind if I take a look? Her eyes widen slightly, and she hesitates for a fraction of a second before pushing the laptop toward me. Of course. I scan the screen, noting the open tabs, LinkedIn, a job search site, and an email draft. Everything looks legitimate, but my instincts tell me to dig deeper. Looks good, I say, handing it back. But just so you know, I'll be keeping an eye on things. She nods quickly. I understand. The conversation ends there, but my suspicions linger. That night, after she falls asleep, I retrieve the folder Jake gave me and start flipping through the photos again. Each image fuels my resolve. If Emily thinks she can rebuild my trust without full transparency, she's mistaken. The next morning, I call Jake. I need you to monitor her emails, I say bluntly. I need to know if she's still in contact with Eric, or if anything else comes up. Jake hesitates. You sure you want to go down this road? Once you start spying, it's hard to stop. I don't have a choice, I reply. She's the one who brought us here. All right, Jake says. I'll set it up. Give me a day. After hanging up, I sit in the car for a moment, my head resting against the steering wheel. The idea of monitoring Emily's emails feels invasive, but so is the damage she's done to our marriage. Trust isn't just given, it's earned. And right now, she's got a long way to go. That evening, Emily suggests we sit down together and talk. She brings 2 glasses of wine to the couch and pats the seat beside her. I want to make this work, Jack, she says earnestly. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Are you? I ask, taking the glass but not drinking. Because this isn't just about words, Emily. It's about actions. I know, she says, her voice trembling. And I'm trying. I really am. I nod slowly. We'll see. As the days pass, Emily's behavior remains consistent, almost too consistent. She's overly attentive, overly accommodating, as if she's trying to compensate for what she's done. But the scars of her betrayal run deep, and I can't help but question her every move. When Jake calls 2 days later, his tone is grim. We've got a problem. What is it? I ask, gripping the phone tightly. She sent an email to Eric, he says. It wasn't anything incriminating, but she apologized for the way things ended and said she hopes they can still be friends. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Friends? I repeat, my voice shaking with anger. She promised she'd cut all ties. Thought you'd want to know, Jake says. What do you want to do? I take a deep breath, my mind racing. Emily's betrayal just took another turn, and now I have to decide how to confront her. When I get home that evening, Emily greets me at the door with a cautious smile. Dinner's almost ready, she says, her voice chipper, almost forced. I made your favorite, grilled salmon. I nod, forcing a neutral expression as I hang up my jacket. The email Jake told me about burns in the back of my mind, but I don't let it show. Not yet. Smells good, I reply, walking into the kitchen. Thanks. She seems relieved by my calm demeanor, and for a moment, I let her think everything is fine. We sit down to eat, the room filled with forced small talk about her job hunt and the upcoming counseling session. But I'm barely listening, the weight of her lie pressing down on me like a stone. Finally, as we finish the meal, I set my fork down and meet her eyes. Emily, we need to talk. Her smile fades instantly, and she fidgets with her napkin. Okay, she says softly. What's on your mind? I thought we agreed that you'd cut all contact with Eric, I say, keeping my voice steady. Her face pales, and her hand freezes mid-motion. I did, she says quickly. I haven't seen him or spoken to him since I ended things. Don't lie to me, I snap, my tone sharper now. I know you emailed him. Her eyes widen, panic flashing across her face. Jack, I didn't mean anything by it. I just wanted to apologize for how things ended. I thought it would be the polite thing to do. Polite? I echo, leaning forward. After everything you've done, you think I care about you being polite to him? She stammers, her words tumbling out in a desperate rush. It wasn't a big deal. It was just one email, and I didn't say anything inappropriate. I swear. I shake my head, anger bubbling to the surface. That's not the point, Emily. The point is you lied to me, again. You promised me you'd cut ties, and you didn't. Tears fill her eyes, and she reaches for my hand, but I pull away. Jack, please, she pleads. It was a mistake. I wasn't thinking. You weren't thinking? I say bitterly. You've been doing a lot of not thinking lately, haven't you? Her tears spill over, and she buries her face in her hands. I'm sorry, she sobs. I don't know what's wrong with me. I just wanted closure. You want closure? I say, standing abruptly. Here's some closure for you. If you lie to me again, we're done. No counseling, no second chances. You'll be packing your bags and leaving this house. Her head snaps up, and she stares at me, wide-eyed. Jack, no, please. I'll do anything. I'll delete my email account. Stop, I interrupt. This isn't about deleting accounts or making empty promises. This is about trust, Emily, and you've done nothing to earn it back. She nods frantically, tears streaming down her face. I'll do better, she says, her voice trembling. I promise. I scoff, turning away. Your promises don't mean much right now. As I leave the table, her sobs echo behind me, but I don't stop. Upstairs, I grab my phone and call Jake. You were right, I say when he answers. She's still lying to me. What's the plan? Jake asks. I hesitate, the weight of the situation pressing down on me. I'm giving her one last chance, I say finally. But I want you to keep monitoring her. If she slips up again, I need to know. You got it, Jake replies. And Jack, don't let her walk all over you. Don't worry, I say grimly. That's not going to happen. As I hang up, I sit on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. Emily's tears and apologies mean nothing if her actions don't back them up. This is her last chance, and I'm ready to act if she blows it. The next few days are a test of my patience and resolve. Emily's behavior shifts into overdrive. She's overly attentive, always hovering, and constantly asking if I'm okay. It feels forced, almost performative, and every gesture only deepens my suspicion. She's trying too hard, and it's grating. One evening, after an unusually long day at work, I pull into the driveway and notice something strange. Emily's car is missing. My pulse quickens. She didn't mention going anywhere. I sit in the car for a moment, staring at the empty spot in the driveway, my mind racing with possibilities. Inside, the house is eerily quiet. I set my keys down and head to the kitchen, where I find a note on the counter. Went out for coffee with Jenna. Be back soon. Jenna, her best friend. I grab my phone and call Jake immediately. Jake, can you track Emily's phone? I ask, my voice sharp. Give me a sec, he says. There's a brief pause before he speaks again. Got her. She's not at a coffee shop. Where is she? I demand. A park on the west side of town, Jake says. You want me to follow up? No, I reply, grabbing my car keys. I'll handle this. I drive to the park, my hands gripping the wheel so tightly my knuckles turn white. My mind reels with anger and betrayal, but I force myself to stay calm. If she's meeting Eric or anyone else, I need to see it with my own eyes. When I pull into the lot, I spot her car immediately. It's parked near a secluded area of the park, away from the main paths. My stomach churns as I step out of my car and start walking, keeping to the shadows. The cool evening air does nothing to soothe the fire burning inside me. I find her sitting on a bench, but she's alone. Relief washes over me briefly before it's replaced by confusion. Why would she lie about meeting Jenna just to come here by herself? I step out of the shadows, my footsteps crunching on the gravel. Emily looks up, startled, and her face pales when she sees me. Jack, she says, standing abruptly, what are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing, I reply, crossing my arms. You said you were meeting Jenna for coffee. She stammers, her eyes darting around as if searching for an escape. I just needed some air. I didn't want to worry you. Air? I echo, my voice dripping with disbelief. You lied to me, Emily. Again. Her face crumples, and she sits back down, burying her face in her hands. I'm sorry, she whispers. I didn't know how to tell you. Tell me what? I ask, my anger boiling over. What's so hard to say that you had to lie to my face? She looks up, her green eyes glistening with tears. "I came here to think," she says quietly, "about everything. About us." I stare at her, my jaw tightening. "Do you have any idea how hard it is to believe anything you say anymore?" "I know," she says, her voice trembling. "And I don't blame you. I've messed up so much, Jack. I don't know how to fix it." "Then stop lying," I snap. "Stop hiding things. If you want to fix this, you need to start being honest. Right now." She nods slowly, tears streaming down her face. "Okay," she says. "I'll try." I shake my head, frustration bubbling to the surface. "Trying isn't enough, Emily. You need to commit, to change. Because if this keeps up, there won't be anything left to save." She looks away, her shoulders slumping under the weight of my words. "I don't want to lose you," she says softly. "I love you, Jack." I want to believe her, but the wounds she's inflicted are too fresh, too deep. I take a step back, putting distance between us. "Prove it," I say simply, because words mean nothing without action. As I turn to walk away, I hear her stifle a sob, but I don't look back. This isn't over, not by a long shot. But whether it ends in reconciliation or destruction is up to her. The house is silent when I return. Emily hasn't come back yet, and I'm glad. I need the time to think. My thoughts churn like a storm as I sit in the dimly lit living room, staring at the clock. Each tick feels like a countdown to something inevitable. When I hear the soft hum of her car pulling into the driveway, I brace myself. The door creaks open, and Emily steps inside, her eyes red and puffy. She sees me sitting there and freezes. "You waited up," she says quietly, closing the door behind her. "Of course I did," I reply, my voice steady. "We need to talk." She sets her bag down and walks cautiously toward me, as if I might lash out. "I know," she says, sitting across from me. "I owe you the truth." "Damn right you do," I say, leaning forward. "So, let's hear it. Why were you really at the park?" Her gaze drops to the floor, and for a moment, I think she won't answer. But then she looks up, tears brimming in her eyes. "I was thinking about everything I've done," she says softly. "About how much I've hurt you, and how I've destroyed the trust we had. I don't know how to fix it, Jack. I don't even know if I can." I stare at her, trying to gauge her sincerity. She's said all the right things before, but actions speak louder than words. "Let me make this clear," I say firmly. "You're right. You've broken something that might never be fixed. And you can't undo it with apologies or excuses. If you want to fix this, it's going to take more than just promises. It's going to take real, consistent effort." "I know," she says quickly, her voice trembling, "and I'm willing to do whatever it takes." "Good," I reply, "because I'm done playing games, Emily. You've lied to me more times than I can count, and every time you do, you make it harder for me to even look at you." She flinches, her tears spilling over. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "I don't want to lose you, Jack." I sigh, leaning back. "I've heard that before. Now it's time to show me." She nods, wiping her eyes. "How?" "You've already taken a few steps," I admit. "Quitting your job, scheduling counseling, that's a start. But it's not enough." "Tell me what to do," she pleads. "I'll do anything." "You'll be transparent," I say. "No more secrets. No more lies. I want access to everything, your phone, your emails, your social media, and I want you to cut off anyone who might jeopardize what's left of this marriage." "Okay," she says quickly. "I'll do it. And you'll earn back my trust," I continue. "Not with words, but with actions. Every day, you'll have to prove to me that you're serious about saving this." "I will," she says, her voice steady now. "I promise." I stare at her, the weight of her words sinking in. Promises mean nothing to me anymore, but I don't say it. Instead, I stand and head for the stairs. "Where are you going?" she asks, her voice small. "To bed," I reply. "I need some space." Her shoulders sag, but she doesn't argue. She knows she's already on thin ice. As I close the bedroom door behind me, I feel a flicker of hope mixed with a heavy dose of doubt. This is her last chance, and I'm not sure she even realizes it. The next morning, I wake to the sound of Emily moving around downstairs. When I head to the kitchen, I find her sitting at the table with a stack of papers in front of her. "What's this?" I ask, pouring myself a cup of coffee. She looks up, her face a mix of determination and fear. "It's everything," she says. "My phone records, my emails, my texts. I printed it all out for you." I set the mug down, surprised by her initiative. "You're serious about this?" "I have to be," she says. "I can't lose you, Jack." I pick up the stack of papers, flipping through them. It's a lot of information, and part of me wonders if she's trying to overwhelm me with details to hide something. But for now, I give her the benefit of the doubt. "This is a good start," I say finally. "But it's just that, a start." She nods. "I'll keep proving myself to you, whatever it takes." I lean against the counter, studying her. "We'll see." Emily's efforts seem genuine, but I've learned not to trust appearances. Her transparency with the phone records and emails is a step in the right direction. Yet every time I see her name on a text message or an email header referencing her past, it feels like a punch to the gut. I keep telling myself this is what progress looks like: messy, slow, and painful. That evening, while reviewing the stack of records she gave me, something catches my eye. An email from Eric. It's dated after she claimed to have ended things with him. My heart pounds as I open it. The message is brief but damning. "Hey, thanks for explaining. I get it, but if you ever change your mind, you know where to find me. Take care." I slam the papers onto the table, my pulse racing. This wasn't just her apologizing for closure. This was her keeping a door open. I grab my phone and dial Jake, my voice low but simmering with anger. "I need you to pull everything on her communication with Eric," I say. "I thought she was done with him," Jake replies, surprised. "So did I snap. "But I found an email. She's not as done as she claims." "On it," Jake says, his tone serious. "I'll call you when I have something." I hang up and sit in the dark kitchen, my hands gripping the edge of the table. This is exactly why I can't trust her. She says one thing but does another, spinning lies that she thinks I won't catch. When Emily comes downstairs, she freezes at the sight of me sitting with the records spread out before me. "Jack?" she asks hesitantly. "What are you doing?" "Reading," I reply coldly, holding up the email. "Care to explain this?" Her eyes dart to the paper, and her face drains of color. I didn't think you'd see that." "You didn't think I'd see it?" I echo, my voice rising. "So, you thought you could keep lying to me?" "No," she says quickly, stepping closer. "It wasn't like that. I didn't even respond to him, Jack. It was just his way of saying goodbye." I stand, towering over her. "Goodbye? It looks more like he's leaving the door wide open for you, Emily. And you didn't even bother to shut it." Tears spring to her eyes, and she shakes her head. "I wasn't going to respond. I didn't want to escalate things." "Escalate things?" I snap. "You've already escalated them by keeping this hidden from me. Do you even understand how much damage you've done?" Her lip trembles, and she reaches for my arm. "Jack, please. I'm trying. I'm doing everything I can to fix this." "Trying isn't enough," I shout, pulling away. "You promised me you were done with him. You said there'd be no more contact, but here we are." She collapses onto the chair, sobbing into her hands. "I don't know what else to do," she cries. "I've given you everything. I've done everything you've asked." "Have you?" I demand, my voice cold. "Because this email tells me otherwise." She looks up, her face streaked with tears. "I didn't think it mattered." "It matters," I say firmly. "Every little thing matters, Emily. Because right now, you're hanging by a thread, and you just gave me another reason to cut it." Her sobs intensify, and I walk away, heading upstairs. The sight of her tears used to break my heart, but now they just feel like a manipulation. Another tool she uses to deflect from her lies. When my phone buzzes later that night, I see Jake's name on the screen. "What do you have?" I ask, my voice tense. "There's more," he says. "She hasn't been texting him directly, but there are messages through a mutual coworker. Looks like she's been passing updates about you." My chest tightens, the betrayal deepening. "Thanks, Jake," I say, my voice hollow. "I'll handle it." As I end the call, a realization settles over me like a cold fog. Emily's promises are empty, her actions riddled with deceit. This isn't a marriage anymore. It's a battleground. I sit in the darkness of the bedroom, staring at the wall as Jake's words echo in my mind. Emily isn't just lying. She's actively undermining any chance we had of rebuilding. The messages she's passing through her coworker, updates about me, feel like knives to the back. I trusted her enough to give her one last chance, and she's using it to conspire with Eric behind my back. Sleep is out of the question. The weight of her betrayal presses down on me, fueling my resolve. By morning, I know what I need to do. When I step downstairs, Emily is in the kitchen, sipping coffee and scrolling through her phone. She looks up as I enter, a cautious smile on her lips. "Morning," she says softly. I don't respond. Instead, I pour myself a cup of coffee and sit across from her at the table. Her smile falters as she senses the tension. "Jack?" she asks, her voice uncertain. "What's wrong?" I lean forward, my voice low and steady. "I know you've been passing messages to Eric." Her eyes widen, and the color drains from her face. "What?" "No, I haven't." "Don't lie to me," I snap, slamming my hand on the table. "I know you've been using a mutual coworker to send updates about me. About us." She stares at me, her mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. Finally, she manages to stammer, How do you know?" "It doesn't matter how I know," I say coldly. "What matters is that you lied again." She collapses into her chair, burying her face in her hands. "Jack, I'm sorry," she sobs. "I didn't mean for it to go this far." "Didn't mean for it to go this far?" I echo, my voice rising. "You've been lying to my face for weeks. You swore you'd cut ties, but you've been feeding him information like some kind of spy. Do you even understand what you've done?" "I was scared," she cries. "I didn't want to lose you, but I didn't know how to handle everything." "Handle everything?" I shout, standing abruptly. "This isn't about handling things, Emily. This is about respect, about honesty, about loyalty, none of which you've shown me." Her sobs intensify, but I'm beyond caring. The anger bubbling inside me spills over, and I pace the kitchen, my hands clenched into fists. "I gave you one last chance," I say, my voice trembling with fury. "And you blew it. You've proven over and over that you can't be trusted." "Please, Jack," she pleads, standing and reaching for me. I'll stop. I'll cut him off completely. I'll block everyone at work if I have to. I step back, glaring at her. It's too late for that. Her face crumples, and she falls to her knees, clutching at my arm. "Don't do this," she begs. "Don't walk away. I love you, Jack. I can't lose you. You lost me the moment you decided he was worth more than our marriage," I say coldly. "This isn't love, Emily. This is manipulation." She sobs uncontrollably, but I pull away and head upstairs. Her cries follow me, echoing through the house like a haunting melody. But I don't look back. In the bedroom, I grab my phone and call Jake. "It's done," I say. "She's out of chances." "What's your move?" Jake asks. "I'm leaving," I reply. "For good this time." "Need help?" he offers. "Just one thing," I say. "Make sure Eric knows what's coming. He should enjoy his smug little game while it lasts." "You got it," Jake says, his voice resolute. "Let me know if you need anything else." As I hang up, a strange calm settles over me. The storm of anger and betrayal has passed, leaving only clarity in its wake. Emily made her choice, and now it's time for me to make mine. The morning air is cold as I pack the last of my belongings into the truck. I've left most of the furniture and household items behind, taking only what I absolutely need. The RV is ready and waiting, parked at the edge of the driveway like a symbol of my escape. Emily stands on the porch, her arms wrapped around herself. She's wearing the same robe she always wears on lazy mornings, but now it looks more like a shroud. Her face is pale, her eyes swollen from crying all night. "Jack," she says softly, her voice trembling. "Please, don't go." I stop loading for a moment, leaning against the truck. My chest tightens at the sight of her, but I push the feeling down. "I warned you, Emily," I say, my tone steady. I told you what would happen if you lied to me again. I know, she sobs. And I was wrong. I was stupid. But I can change, Jack. I swear I can. I shake my head, the weight of her words heavy but hollow. It's too late for promises. You've crossed too many lines, and I can't come back from this. She takes a step forward, her hands clasped in front of her as though she's begging. I'll do anything, she pleads. Anything you ask. Just give me one more chance. You had your chance, I say sharply, and you threw it away. This isn't a game, Emily. This is my life. And you've done nothing but tear it apart. Her tears fall freely, but I turn back to the truck, securing the last box in the bed. I'm leaving, I say firmly. I don't know where I'm going, but I can't stay here. Jack, she whispers, her voice breaking. I love you. I pause, the words cutting through me like a blade. For a moment, I consider turning around, taking her in my arms, and letting her sob into my chest like she's done so many times before. But then I remember the lies, the betrayal, and the email that proved she was never truly committed to fixing things. If you loved me, I say, my voice cold, you wouldn't have done this. Her sobs grow louder, but I climb into the truck without looking back. The engine roars to life, drowning out her cries as I pull out of the driveway. In the rearview mirror, I see her collapse onto the porch, her shoulders shaking with grief. But I keep driving. The road stretches out before me, a blank slate waiting to be filled. The farther I go, the lighter I feel, as though each mile is peeling away the layers of pain and betrayal. I don't know what the future holds, but I know one thing for certain. I'll never let someone break me like this again. I stop at a gas station a few towns over to refuel. As I stand by the pump, my phone buzzes in my pocket. It's Jake. She's been texting me, he says when I answer, begging me to tell her where you're going. I sigh, leaning against the truck. Don't tell her anything. She needs to learn that actions have consequences. Got it, Jake says. By the way, I had a little conversation with Eric. I smirk despite myself. What kind of conversation? The kind that makes him think twice before messing with another man's wife, Jake replies, his tone dark. Let's just say he won't be causing you any more trouble. Good, I say, my grip tightening on the phone. He deserves worse, but I'll take it. Where are you headed? Jake asks. I don't know yet, I admit. I'm just driving. Well, wherever you end up, don't look back, he says. You deserve better than this mess. I know, I reply, hanging up. As I get back on the road, I feel a sense of liberation I haven't felt in years. The weight of Emily's lies and manipulations is finally lifting, and for the first time, I feel like I can breathe. The miles pass by in a blur of open fields, small towns, and winding highways. For the first time in what feels like forever, my mind is clear. No second-guessing, no overanalyzing. Just the hum of the engine and the promise of the unknown. I stop at a roadside diner just off the interstate. It's the kind of place that smells like grease and coffee, where the waitresses know the locals by name. Sliding into a booth by the window, I order a burger and a Coke, needing something solid to anchor me. The waitress, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, refills my drink and pauses. Rough day, she asks. Rough few months, I admit, running a hand through my hair. She nods, like she's heard it all before. Well, this is a good place to start fresh. Lots of folks come through here looking for a clean slate. Yeah, I ask, leaning back. And how many of them find it? She smiles knowingly. That's up to you, honey. Her words stick with me as I finish my meal and head back to the truck. Starting fresh. It sounds simple, but the reality is far more complicated. I've spent so much of my life tied to Emily, tied to the life we built together, that I'm not sure who I am without it. But maybe that's the point. Maybe it's time to figure out who I am on my own. I drive until the sun starts to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The glow feels like a promise, a reminder that endings often lead to beginnings. I pull off the highway and find a small RV park tucked along the edge of a lake. It's quiet, serene, exactly what I need. As I set up for the night, I check my phone. There are no messages from Emily, but there's one from Jake. Eric's officially out of the picture. You're clear to move on. I stare at the screen for a moment before typing a quick reply. Thanks for everything, Jake. I'll keep you posted. The silence around me is comforting, a stark contrast to the chaos I've been living in. For the first time in weeks, I feel like I can finally exhale. I sit by the edge of the lake, the water rippling gently under the moonlight, and let the calm wash over me. But even in this peace, a part of me still aches. The betrayal, the lies, the loss of a future I once believed in. They've left scars that won't heal overnight. Yet, sitting here under the stars, I feel a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this is the start of something better. As I stare out at the water, my phone buzzes again. This time, it's an unknown number. I hesitate before answering, my voice cautious. Hello? Jack, a soft voice says, and my heart sinks. It's Emily. What do you want? I ask, my tone sharp. I wanted to say I'm sorry, she says, her voice trembling. I know I've lost you, and I know I deserve this, but I needed you to hear it from me. I'm sorry for everything. Her words hang in the air, heavy and raw. I close my eyes, letting the weight of them settle. I appreciate the apology, I say finally, but it doesn't change anything, Emily. What's done is done. I know, she whispers. I hope someday you can forgive me. I don't answer right away. Forgiveness isn't something I can offer her right now, not after everything she's put me through. But maybe, with time, I'll find a way to let go of the anger and pain. Take care of yourself, I say, ending the call before she can respond. As I sit by the lake, the quiet returns, wrapping around me like a blanket. Emily's apology doesn't fix anything, but it feels like a door finally closing. And for the first time in a long time, I feel ready to walk through another one. The sun rises over the lake, casting golden light across the still water. I sit by the edge, sipping coffee from a thermos, feeling the first real sense of peace I've had in months. The chaos of Emily's betrayal feels distant now, like a storm that has finally passed. It's not gone. I still feel the scars, but it no longer consumes me. After packing up, I hit the road again, letting the open highway guide me. There's no destination in mind, just a vague sense of forward motion. I pass through small towns and sprawling fields, each mile feeling like a step toward reclaiming my life. By late afternoon, I find myself in a quiet mountain town nestled against a backdrop of towering pines. There's a small diner on the main strip, its neon sign flickering faintly in the daylight. Something about the place feels inviting, so I park the truck and step inside. The bell above the door jingles as I enter, and a cheerful voice greets me. Take a seat wherever you like. I choose a booth by the window, taking in the view of the mountains beyond. The waitress, a woman in her 30s with a friendly smile, brings over a menu. Passing through, she asks, pouring me a cup of coffee. Maybe, I say, smiling faintly. Not sure where I'm headed yet. Well, if you're looking for peace and quiet, you've found the right place, she says with a wink before heading to another table. Peace and quiet. The idea has its appeal. As I sip my coffee and look around the cozy diner, I feel a strange sense of belonging, a feeling I haven't had in a long time. When the waitress returns to take my order, I ask, "What's the town like? Is it a good place to settle down?" She tilts her head thoughtfully. Depends on what you're looking for. It's small, but people here look out for each other. It's the kind of place where you can start fresh. Her words resonate deeply. Start fresh. That's exactly what I need. I finish my meal and take a stroll through the town. It's charming in a way that feels almost nostalgic. Brick storefronts, a town square with a fountain, and friendly faces that nod or wave as I pass. By the time I return to my truck, the decision has been made. The next few weeks are a whirlwind of settling in. I rent a small cabin on the outskirts of town, surrounded by woods and silence. It's a far cry from the life I had with Emily, but that's the point. Every day feels like a step toward rediscovering who I am outside of the wreckage she left behind. One evening, while sitting on the porch of the cabin, I get a text from Jake. "How's life on the road?" "Not on the road anymore," I reply. "Found a place to settle." "Good for you," he texts back. "You deserve some peace, man." As I look out at the trees swaying gently in the breeze, I realize he's right. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I've taken back control of my life. Emily's betrayal no longer defines me. It's just a chapter I've closed. Weeks turn into months, and the rhythm of my new life begins to take shape. The small mountain town feels more like home with each passing day. I've found work helping a local contractor. Honest, physical labor that leaves me exhausted in the best way. It's not glamorous, but it's grounding, and that's exactly what I need. The scars Emily left behind still linger, but they're starting to fade. I don't think about her every day anymore, and when I do, it's with a sense of distance. The anger and hurt have dulled, replaced by a quiet resolve to build something better for myself. One Saturday morning, I'm at the town market, picking up supplies, when a familiar voice calls my name. I turn to see Jake, grinning as he walks toward me. "What the hell are you doing here?" I ask, surprised but genuinely glad to see him. "Had some business nearby," he says, clapping me on the shoulder. "Figured I'd stop by and see how you're doing." "I'm good," I reply, and for the first time in months, I mean it. Jake raises an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. "You sure about that?" "Yeah," I say with a nod. "I've got a job, a place to stay, and a hell of a lot of peace and quiet. It's not perfect, but it's better." He chuckles. "That's all anyone can ask for." We grab coffee at the diner, catching up on everything and nothing. He tells me about Eric's fallout, how his reputation at work took a hit after his involvement with Emily came to light. Hearing it doesn't bring me joy, but it doesn't sting either. It's just another piece of a past I've left behind. Before Jake leaves, he gives me a hard look. "You ever need anything, you call me. Don't try to go it alone, all right?" "All right," I say, shaking his hand. "Thanks, Jake, for everything." As he drives away, I feel a sense of closure settling over me. Jake's visit is a reminder of how far I've come and how far I still have to go. But for the first time, I'm okay with that. That evening, I sit on the porch of my cabin, the cool mountain air wrapping around me like a comforting blanket. The sun dips below the horizon, casting the sky in hues of orange and purple. With a journal and a pen in hand, I start writing. Not about Emily, not about the pain, but about the future. The words come slowly at first, but then they flow, filling the pages with ideas, dreams, and goals I'd long since buried. It's not about erasing the past. It's about creating a life that's mine, built on a foundation of strength and resilience. As I close the journal, a faint smile crosses my lips. I don't know where the road will take me from here, but I know one thing for certain. I'm finally in the driver's seat. Emily once told me that love was about forgiveness and second chances. Maybe she was right in some ways, but forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and second chances don't mean accepting less than you deserve. This is my second chance, not with her, but with myself. Have you ever found yourself starting over after a betrayal like this? Share your story below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this one. Until next time, take care of yourself and never settle for less than you're worth.